Hello Flosstube, welcome back. My name is Teresa. This is the Garden Goose Stitcher Flosstube, episode 39. It's August 2nd, and it's been a minute since I checked in with my Flosstube. And I'll tell you, I've been gardening. And that should be the clue, since my name is the Garden Goose. Last time I think I had a goose update. This time, I'll garden all the time. I've been really busy out in the garden, and I did not spend much time stitching in June. Part of May, I really hardly stitched at all. So I hadn't had anything to really update. And then this month, I really seem to have found my groove. So I'm back with updates. I've actually got a lot of finishes. Surprising. It really snuck up on me. I'm glad, because without stitching, I was a little off kilter. So I'm here. How have you been? Thank you for checking in with me. I've missed you all. Where you been? Who'd you see? Where'd you go? What'd you do? How's your garden grow? If you don't follow me on Instagram, I'm on Instagram as Teresa McMath01. I'll put it right here so you can see the spelling of it. And I do post regularly on Instagram, just mostly pictures of my flowers. If you're into that, that's where you'll find it. Also, I did a garden tour at the beginning of July. I should do one now. I'm going to weed first, and then I'm going to. But if you're following me there, you know that I've been alive. But here I am, months later. So sorry. I've been busy. I will tell you. I want to show you my book of days. I feel like it's my excuse note. Look, I didn't get to stitch at all. Last time we checked in, it was the beginning of May, and I have kept my book of days up to date, which it was helpful for me. So last time we checked in, I think it was Mother's Day weekend. But pretty much, I think this was my last frost date, and then there's not as much stitching. And then in June, I'll tell you, okay, so I'm going to tell you something. We have a friend group that went to Shipshewana, Indiana in June. And part of going to that was a celebration for Hobbies of Holly. Her birthday was in June. And there was a group project that was stitched, and each person stitched a part of it and then sent it to the next. And I was the last one. And if I hadn't had that project, it was my turn and my deadline was looming, I wouldn't have stitched it all, I think. Because like there's 4 of those days in May are that birthday Quaker. And then in June, I didn't stitch hardly at all. There's birthday Quaker and then whole gaps. And so until I went to the retreat down in Shipshewana. Can I tell you a little bit about that? We went to Shipshewana, Indiana, which is an Amish community. Have you ever been there? Have you heard of it? I really wondered what the draw was. I'd known about it. My grandmother, who was like a farmer's wife, a mom of 5, she, like later on in life, she always made it a priority to go with her friend group once a year to Shipshewana. And I wondered why. But why? But I had to tell you, it was so charming there. It's just slower, you know, like the pace. And we happened to rent a Airbnb or a Verbo, I don't remember which, and it didn't have a single TV in it. And I mean, people in Shipshewana have TVs, and there's regular hotels, but that was such a slow pace, and it was really enjoyable. And so I know that there's retreats that go on there. There's quilt retreats, especially. There's a lot of really great quilt shops there. And I guess I'm recommending Shipshewana. It's a pretty cool place. So I went to Shipshewana and I did stitch. Came home, more weeding. But in July, I found my way back to stitching, and I've stitched pretty much every day. I think every single day. I went to a retreat last week. There's a little picture. So many fun friends were at that retreat. We had quite the cul-de-sac. There were really like 4 tables right next to each other that were all just chatting and cutting up. It was fun. So I haven't been stitching in June, which leads me to why I haven't been here. I'm sorry. But here I am. So let's chat about my stitching. I want to tell you, one of the reasons I think that I became successful in stitching in July, I talked about this, but I don't think I ever showed it. I made this little box. A lot of my friends, I know it's a sin, but I covet their little boxes. They have those little ruler boxes. I found this one at Michael's. It was on clearance for like $. I painted it and I lined it with some cute fabric. I put my little Kohana magnetic needle spot there. I keep a wad of orts back there. I should put something else in there, but I don't want to shift it too much. Oh, pardon the foul language on my. But if you know me, you know me. I keep a stand on it. I keep my floss. I keep a pair of earbuds so that I can, and my pattern on here. Some cute snips. Look at this. This was a Stitchy Kindness. Christy from like the cousins. Cousin Christy sent me this sweet little scissor fob. I think the tag had Holly Hoag's name on it. Does Holly Hoag make these? They're super cute. I wondered if it was from their other friend's shop. Super sweet. Greta. But so I have found that having this tray to take with me, I can take it from the kitchen table where I'm bird watching to out to the back deck, where I like to sit for long periods of time, out to my car if I have to take Nate to hockey. Hockey has been 4 times a week. 2 on ice skates, which aren't super long. One of them's at 9 o'clock at night though. PM, 9 p.m. So there's that. But I find that taking this tray with me, I can take it wherever. I can take it down to the living room to sit and watch a show. I can take it wherever I need to go. So that has been helpful, super helpful. And I was surprised. And why didn't I just do that earlier? You know what I mean? But live and learn. So so I have been back to stitching. Let me show you what I've stitched. Now, going back to May, probably forgot a lot. Sorry. But I do know last time we spoke, I was stitching this America by Emily Call Stitching. And it was a sale. When Emily posted this, I had reposted it. I said, I'd sell that. And Jody from Simply Stitching Ocala said, let's do that. And so we did. And so I had finished it. I don't know how many days it took me. It was a quick little stitch and I was in the mood for something patriotic. So I stitched it, and then I've even I've lined it and made it into a pillow. But I'll tell you, pillows at my house sit like this in the closet for months, years before I actually stuff them. So it looks close to done, but it's been like this for a minute, and Lord knows when I'll get to it. But so I got this finished and I love it so much. I don't remember. I know I used that Patriotic fabric. Is that what that was called? It has like a little bit of a hint of blue and red in it. And I'm sure I used Coloring Cotton conversion. And I'm sure it's in my last Flosstube. And also I know it's on my Instagram because we were hosting that. So on the 80th anniversary of D-Day, a couple of friends and I were talking about the D-Day anniversary. And we decided, oh, we should stitch something. We're a patriotic bunch of gals, you know. So, so I picked October House's skinny faded flag, and I stitched this in a day. I watched Band of Brothers, and I just stitched. One of the only days I stitched in June, I guarantee you, other than the birthday Quaker. It was a really sweet project, but I just, yeah, see, in the barren stitching world, faded flag. So anyway, that was great. Then I had right before my frost date, I have a friend group that chit chats a lot, and sometimes we do Zooms on there. And I was getting ready. It was just before my frost date, and I think the weather was bad. So I was like, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna be selfish. Back in May. We're talking back in May. And I decided to do a 24 hours of cross stitch. It didn't align with the legitimate 24 hours of cross stitch challenge, but just before my frost date, I decided to do a movie marathon of Nicholas Sparks movies because I love that. Have you ever done that? I mean, like, Probably not. It's rare, but I've done it twice now. Once when I lived in South Dakota, because every August when the Sturgis motorcycle rally came around, listen, I'm going to tell you something. I loved living in South Dakota. There was no traffic, ever, ever. And I feel like I can hold my own in Detroit. I've driven through many major cities in the United States of America, with and without GPS, because there was a time where we used to drive through St. Louis and all these other cities with a Rand McNally booklet. And we're still married, so. But I feel like I can hold my own. However, in South Dakota, when the bikers came for the Sturgis bike rally every August, I would go grocery shopping for 2 full weeks. I would plan my meals to allow the freshest produce so that I would have, and I would not leave my house for 2 weeks because the roads were terrifying with all of the motorcycles. I know that they have a great time. I think it's great for the economy. I think I get tickled just thinking about all those doctors and lawyers and dentists coming in and acting like big bad bikers. I just think that's great. And I know they have a lot of fun stuff with the buffalo chip. Absolutely. But I was terrified driving on the roads there. So every year, my friend group and my quilting friend group, we just stay home and coordinate activities to do at home while we were shut in. Because that's what it was, like a summer blizzard. But really, it was just raining down bikes everywhere. So I had done that once before. Somehow, some way, our friend group had decided to do a Nicholas Sparks movie marathon, and I highly recommend it. If you ever find yourself with a period of time where, you know, binge watch Nicholas Sparks movies, it's real fun, and most of the time you can find them on Amazon and stuff. So, but I decided to do 24 Hours of Cross Stitch with Nicholas Sparks movies, and somebody suggested all dips all the time. So we made dips. We zoomed every evening. Rip roaring good time. Super fun. And the dips were so good. A lot of people submitted some. I ended up making a Greek dip. It was so good. So good. There was the Bougie Sisters suggested a cake batter dip. Oh. Like, let's say you're friends with somebody down, like, regular level, like, love them a lot. And then they give you a recipe for something like that, and you're like, moving on up. That was really good. I think Nate ate 3/4 of that. God bless him. He's still got a real good metabolism and stuff. So during that weekend, I stitched a lot, and I got these done. This was from the Gather Round subscription I had signed up for due to peer pressure. Thanks a lot, Alicia. And I don't think she stitched her one bit, which makes me feel better. But I had started just the one that looks like a quilt block, and I stitched it at the pep rally last September, and it was wrong. So I knew I had to rip some out. So I finally pulled that out, fixed it, and it was very delightful, actually. Once I wasn't disgruntled about myself having messed that up. And then I stitched the other two, so I could feel like this whip has been removed from my list. I know there's 3 other segments to this. That's different. That's different. I used the called for everything. It came with everything that Kit did. So it even came with like the finishing doodads, the twine, all of that. So I got that done. Praise be. And it was a good time. Greek dip. Pita chips. Mm-hmm. And I also had finished this. This was my whip for that month. Maybe both of those were both my whips. Prairie Schooler May, the big one. I don't remember how much I had done. I feel like I had the sheep done and part of the house framed out. But actually, I think I talked about that in my last Flosstube. It was this one. And I got that one done. It was a delight. Delight. I love these. A 14 count coffee tea dyed by me fabric. And, right? Yeah, it is. And so May is done. I really need to recheck how many of these I have left, because that's a series I'd like to accomplish. And then someday I'm going to go back and stitch all of those little ones. I've stitched one of them. I think it was January. So I'd like to stitch those. I have a little spot for those. So that is what I stitched during that weekend, and that was a rip-roaring good time. So after that, hadn't stitched. in July, I decided to do Christmas in July stitching. My friend Missy, she's not a fan of summer. Not a fan. And I understand it's hot. And it's been hot. It's currently hot. But she said, I'm going to crank my air to be like 60 something, and I'm going to watch Hallmark Christmas movies and stitch Christmas. And I was like, that sounds like fun. And that really did turn me back onto cross stitching a lot. It was a fun challenge. I created for myself. I understand some people hate this kind of stuff. I love this kind of stuff. I made myself a little scavenger hunt. Just little tiny goals I wanted to make. So I think there were 12. So stitch a snowman, stitch something from the Jingle Ball that you purchased. Had I done that before? No. Stitch a Patriotic Santa, stitch with a new color red. So I ended up marking off all of those. I'm going to take a sip. And it really got a lot of fun stuff. So one of the prompt was for a snowman. I stitched this. I'm excited about this. I want to stitch this entire series. It's by Pinker and Pumpkin Quilting. It's free on her blog. And I stitched I think this is called 1869 Croc Santa? Snowman? And I think that's what it's called. But love this. Stitched it up in a day. Maybe a day and a little bit of a next day. Loved that. Oh, can I tell you about this on Fraser's Ridge? Don't you love this fabric? Look at it. Look at it. Isn't it beautiful? This is Fabrics by Stephanie. Probably a 16 count. What do you think? 14. Probably why I stitched up in a day. Every once in a while, a girl just got a love of 14 count. Just fly right through that. And so I stitched that up one day. That was from Christmas in July. Then, one of them was to finish a whip. And do you know that I did not have any Christmas whips? So I resorted to my 12 by 12 start for hour 12, which would have been for a December themed project. And I stitched, I had started this. It's called My Christmas Song. It is by, one moment please. It's by MTV Designs, My Christmas Song. Let me see if I can cover this up. And I had gotten quite a bit done. See that? Is that beautiful? And so I think I had stitched all of Christmas and part of that bird. Most of that bird, you can see my traveling threads. It's not going to matter once it's stuffed and then into a little ornament. So I got this done. And I was very happy about that. I picked that up. So that was done. And it marked off probably 2 of those challenges. Another one was to stitch an ornament. This is I've been stitching this series very slowly. If I didn't start in 2020, I started in 2021. When were these released? Best of intentions. But I was on number 4 in the series, and I stitched this up in just a couple days. And I do like it. This is on Coloring Cotton, Warm Sienna. I'm sure it's what they call for floss. And probably the DMC. You know, she usually gives you some fancy flosses. I don't know, that tree looks like it's fancy floss. Never gonna say. This is Warm Sienna. It's a Lugana 32 count, and I sure do love that by Coloring Cotton. So that is done. This little scrap of this little scrap. I have a whole bag of scrap pieces. And I don't know that I would ever know what that is. Maybe it's on a project card somewhere, but perhaps not. Sometimes when it's a scraps, I don't really know what they're saying. Like, they'll have a color, but they have no maker. And I don't want to go just stitch it as it is. So I got that done. The Patriotic Santa prompt was, I picked this Prairie Schooler. I ended up stitching this in the car during hockey, and I'd crack the windows because, you know, it's 9 o'clock at night. So I thought, oh, I got a nice breeze. And I was attacked by mosquitoes. So there's like blood all over that from swat mosquitoes that apparently had just sucked my blood. I'm assuming it was my blood. I stitched this. I picked out a big hunk of ale that I have. This is ale 16 count. I have this huge piece, and I sure do love the way Prairie Schooler looks on him. on there. And I think that I'll keep this and maybe try to get another one done this year. This is my first Prairie Schooler Santa. I have quite a collection, but my first one. He's a little wonky, but once again, I was stitching in the dark. And I was getting eaten alive. But I do love that ale. Even the ecru shows up real nice on that ale. So I finished those. After that, I will tell you, I had ordered the Blackbird Peppermint and the Christmas book that has Holly Manor in it. And I ordered it in June because the Hollies were going to do a sale for the Holly Manor for Christmas in July. And it went on a tour of post offices. It made it here. It made it to Michigan within like maybe a week. I thought it was dragging. Anyway, it just bounced back and forth between Pontiac and Detroit for like a week and a half. And by the time it got here, I'd stitched all that Christmas stuff. And I was kind of moving on. I was kind of done with that. So I picked up a whip that I thought I had a chance at finishing, and I decided to go with Farm Life. I didn't have that much left. I think I'd worked on this during 24 hours of cross stitch too. I got a little bit done, and then I just worked on it the rest of the way. This is on, I think, a 16 count Milk and Honey by Brianna Whim. And it could be an 18 count. I find when I stitch on 18 count by Brianna Whim, I can probably do 2 threads. I like 2 threads. I like the loop method so much. So I got this finished. I'm sure I missed a couple of grass tufts. Up in here, there was just grass tufts sprinkled everywhere. And I was like, this is enough. Probably enough. So I got that done. That was a biggie. And then, I think that from then, I don't know what I was doing, to be honest. Oh, I know. I went through my cabinet where I had a bunch of 12 by 12 starts that maybe I was planning to stitch in previous months, but I hadn't got to them. And so I was like, oh, I can pick up this little one or this little one or this little one and do that. I was also really considering stitching for the Summer Olympics challenge that Katie, the Naptime Stitcher, has available. It's free. You can go to her Instagram, and then you can follow the links to get the packet. It's a legitimate packet. It's got a lot of information, a lot of fun prompts that are really relaxed. And so I've been doing that, and I was keeping I was thinking about that when I was pulling out some of the whips. But the one I picked up was, it was from this magazine, Patriotic Primitive. It was this one. I'm sure I started it during the 7th hour so that it's somewhat patriotic. So I think I was planning on stitching it in July, and I ended up stitching it in July. So it is by the Humble Stitcher, Sweet Land of Liberty. And I stitched it on 16 count red. I stitched this a whole bunch that week, a couple days right before I went to Florida. And then I ran out of Ruby Slipper, and I had to go. I had never been, but I went to Stitch in Time, which is up in Saginaw, Michigan. I'd never been there. And she had a lot of amazing floss, a lot of amazing patterns. It was a treasure trove. And so I ran up there a couple weeks ago on a Friday. I don't know. I went there on a Friday, and I was really well behaved because I knew I was going to Brick City on Wednesday when I got to Florida. So I had to be real good because, So I went to get some Ruby Red Slipper. My thought was the second day's prompt was for the Summer Olympics was stitch something patriotic. So I thought, oh, I'll stitch everything and then just leave that little flag to do. So that's pretty much what I did, but I did have like a line or 2 left in the house. And because I had to go get another skein of Ruby Slipper. So I did. So I got that done at the retreat. I rang the bell. The first time ever. And so that marked off my Summer Olympics. And I got that one from my 12 by 12 done. So I was excited about that. When I got there, I like to. It's optional. Sometimes I don't. But I like to, when I'm going to a retreat, start something there, especially with my friends. I'll ask if anybody wants to do a sale, because I'd sell that. And so the pink flamingo box, I'm going to have trouble with my alliteration right now. The favorite things, Flamingo's Favorites box that came out since I've seen you. Was it in July? No say. But I could not say. Hey, did I tell you that this was on 16 count Ren? Just trying to floss too. Beautiful fabric. But this came out in the box. This little frame was in there, and this pattern by April. She's so sweet, from the Crafty Blue Bonnet. So I thought that would be fun to stitch in Florida, and then I thought that'd be nice to make it into a keeper and then take it with me whenever I go to Florida or to someplace tropical where I might like to stitch something, or stitch on the beach, something. So I knew what fabric I was going to use as soon as I saw it, because I have had this fabric. It was a Bee Stitch Me from my club that I used to be in. I'm not in it right now. It's the 16 count Ada, and it's called Summer Sunrise. And when I got it, I thought, ooh, I'm going to need something tropical to stitch on. And Jenny from the Bougie Stitchers had stitched something tropical or beachy on this fabric and then used it in a swap in February. And so when I saw that, I was like, oh, look how good that looks with tropical stuff. So I was afraid, but look at how good it is. And I also took my hunk of this fabric and I shared it with friends that were also starting this. So I have that done. I think I'll make a keeper with that in it on the cover, and that would be cute. So, and I got that done. So I started it. Ooh, we got there Wednesday. I highly recommend going early and staying late at retreats with your friends. I highly recommend it. We showed up on Wednesday. We met at the airport. I flew in from a different airport. So I flew into Sanford instead of Orlando. Met them at Orlando. Got dropped off by my husband. David and Nathan went with me. So they took the rental car back over to the hotel and got checked in. I went with my friends up to Brick City. I was pretty well behaved. I kitted up one thing. I'll show it in my haul. And then we went to the hotel. And I'll tell you, one of my friends got a boardroom hotel room. So instead of a living area, there was an embassy suite. So every room had pretty much, I think every room is just a suite. So a separate bedroom and then a living room area with a door and like everything. So instead of having a sofa, she had a boardroom table and 6 chairs, maybe 7 chairs, maybe 8 chairs. I don't know. And that was an amazing idea. And so we spent every evening in there, late night stitching. Normally we would do that in the lobby of the hotel, but we had the boardroom with a whiteboard and everything. So I highly recommend that. So I started that night in the boardroom, I think, and I finished it, I think the next day, maybe the next morning. So I took that and I got that done. I also, is that it? I don't know what else. Oh, I have a new start. It's in my whips because it's not done. But when I got home, I picked up a couple other whips I had laying around, and this was on my whip go for this month. So, I cheat at whip go. Basically, I like to stitch seasonally. So I've taken my whips that are seasonal, and when whip go's called, I put my seasonal whips into those slots. So I can still make my whip go goals and pay myself for getting the whips done. But, I say seasonal, because I'll tell you, I've done whip go, I think 3 years. And I'm not in the mood to stitch Halloween in June. I'm not. So there's that. But I finished Hive Rules the other day. I had to sit in the car. I have no idea what the fabric this is. It's very soft, so it's a nice, maybe it's like a vanilla something. But I finished it. And I'm glad it's done. Maybe I'll finish. I have a whole pile of stuff I need to get. Like pull out a table, pull out the glue gun, make a space for the day, and just finish a lot of stuff. So I pulled that out and I finished that. And then this is another one of my 12 by 12. I think that this one was intended to be stitched in June. I stitched it in July. Potato, who cares? And it was Summer Daisies by Stitching with the Housewives. It's in this Punch Needle Primitive magazine from 2020 summer. And I pulled this out, took it in the car with me for a few days, and I like it very much. It's on 16 count Heritage, and it looks like I used DMC conversion. I substituted some stuff, I skipped, there's like a sprinkling of red and blue flowers in there, and I skipped them. I think that I'm going to try to finish this up. We have a cousin camp that, my cousins on my mom's side, we're all close, all of us girls. And so, because we have similar gardening and homesteading type of hobbies, goals, we help each other butcher chickens, is what I'm saying. We go to each of one of our houses, just butcher chickens. We help each other out, and we grew up together, you know. So they're some of my oldest friends. So the year that we bought this house, I don't know, the first summer we were in this house, I hosted cousin camp. They came with their campers and their tents, and we cooked out, we stayed up late, we listened to music, we swam. And then last year, my other cousin, she hosted it. She had pony rides and a bouncy house and a lot of downpour, which she didn't plan for, and it was a great time. So this year we're going to my other cousin's house, and her dad was like the actual farmer. He took over the family's farm. Here's a story time for you, just in case you didn't know, we were entering in a story time. So my grandfather on my mom's side was a farmer. People before him was a farmer. Big family property in Michigan. And so my uncle took over the farm. And I think that my cousin, she's the oldest daughter. She's the oldest of 5. And I think she would have taken it over truly. But so she and her husband, she met a boy down in Georgia. A city boy. He's sweet as can be, and he loves her. And so now they have finally, after moving to Ohio for a while and then moving up to Michigan, they have finally found a property with acreage so that they can have cows. And I'm hoping she can quit. She has a day job with the school system. I'm hoping she can one day quit her day job and just work the farm. I think that's what she wants. I think that's what she's always wanted. And I love that for her. And so she just found it said Western Union on the front. It's like a shed, but the front of it looks like a saloon. Like a Western Union building. Anyway, they redid it. She made it super cute. Also, I'll put her Instagram handle down here if you're into that stuff. She's really great with social media because she has her master's in library whatever. So she's really great at social media. And it's just reels of her and her husband just making it work and working hard. And her Instagram is Grange Returns. I'll put the actual spelling of it right here. Highly recommend that. And if you're in this area, she sells beef, she sells pork, she sells chickens and eggs. And so she just finished up this really cute farm stand. Like it's that Western Union building. They took off the sign. They painted it. They added electricity. It's full of freezers so that, you can help yourself or whatever. And so I thought before cousin camp, because she's hosting cousin camp in a couple weeks, I was hoping to finish this and then she can hang it in her little for her little farm store. Because her farm store is super cute. Like if you're thinking a shed, no, it's like a cute shed, like bougie. So I'm hoping to finish that up. That's the end of the story time. Anyway, so and that's the end of my stitching finishes. Now let's talk about my starts. I've had a lot, and my whips. Where do we start? These are not in order. I could never. Can you imagine? But, let me show you this. Also, I got this bag from Jess Como Stitches. She sent a trunk show to Fanciful Flamingos retreat in Florida. And some of my friends got matching ones, so we can be twins. But I started the Susan Sweetwing Studios, designed this for the retreat. At the end of Alicia's Flosstubes, she always says, choose joy. And so Susan designed this cute pattern. And she had listed the fabric and floss beforehand so you could shop it or bring it and then buy it at the retreat. So I did. At Brick City we found the fabric, and then I bought the DMC there, and so I just got a little start. Like this was like a day. There's a lot of chattering. so I got that. Back in May, on Memorial Day, I started a a cross stitch with Lisa. We had both had this book, and we decided that Memorial Day we should start something. And then my goal, and last year I met my goal. I don't think it's unreasonable. This year I was off kilter. But to start a project on Memorial Day and hopefully have it done by July 4th. Last year I stitched this big old one. This year my goal was this one. Didn't get far. Did not get far, and I'll tell you why. Firstly, I was weeding all the time. Secondly, it's on 36 count, and I found that to go at a speed, it's Aztec, the called for, 36 count Aztec. I have to use magnification for this. It's going to go real slow. Real slow. Maybe I'll pick it up sometime, but didn't get far. So I didn't meet my goal there. While I was in Shipshewana, my good friend Tammy, she gifted the whole group of us a pattern and floss. This is from Sampler Bird Stitchery. I think she's new. Tammy met her at market. She was there to help Susan, and it's called A Tribute to Friendship Sampler. So she gave us a floss. I had taken some fabric options for something else, and so I ended up just picking this up. And I wish I knew what this was, but I couldn't find a tag or anything anywhere. I kind of wondered if it's unknown. No idea. And it's also, oh, I wonder if this is R&R. Because I had bought a piece of R&R at Craft Gallery, and it was like a weird shape. No, maybe it wasn't Craft Gallery. Where else have I been? I don't know, you guys. Maybe a stitching shop? But this is my start on my unknown fabric. So I like it. It's really sweet. The floss she gave us was the fancy floss too. And so like the variegation is nice. Also, while we were in Shipshewana, some of us started this Vibrant Flowers for Holly, Hobbies of Holly's birthday sale. I wanted to start it when we were together. Vibrant. I showed this last time as part of my haul, and I thought I might change the stuff to blue, but I ended up going with this colorway. I pulled floss from Coloring Cotton, so it's not the called for, but it is pretty. It sure is pretty. So I picked Coloring Cotton, and I like it very much. It's real nice. And I wonder what this, oh, I think I do. So this is the start I got while I was in Shipshewana, and it's on 32 count Mad Hatter's Tea Towel by Dames of the Needle. And I do like that very much. I'll tell you, I didn't get a ton of stitching done. Can I tell you why? The most amazing thing happened. My friend Missy had wanted to quilt, or to learn how to quilt. And I knew she had the ability to use a sewing machine, which is an important first step. Some people I've taught have never. So that was important. But I said, I could give you a crash course, basically. Like a little snippet of all the steps. And that's the way I've always taught people. I've taught people to quilt at a lot of places, wherever I lived. I tried to teach somebody to quilt, basically to make a friend to stitch with or sew with. But it really turned out to be wonderful, especially for the women I was teaching were moms with young children. And so quilting kept them sane or gave them something to do that was always progressing forward to completion. Where, you know, when you have young children, you're constantly redoing everything you're doing. So every day the dishes get undone. Every day the laundry gets dirty again. You have to do that over. Every day you do the same task. And so having a quilt that's constantly moving forward to a completion and an end, not being undone by others, it really does help a lot, especially with people with young kids. I feel like a lot of people in our society, like women, don't have hobbies anymore. Like we all do. That's why you're here. But I really did. I met women from all walks, all places, and teaching them that small hobby really seemed to, I don't know how to explain it, but I taught a lot of people, and I did it the same way. Basically, I teach a snippet of each part of it, but the goal is to complete something before you get frustrated. And so I show how to iron your fabric. I show how to square up your fabric. I show how to cut your fabric. But I show each part, but the majority of it is done by me. The one thing I focus on during quilting is them mastering their 1/4 inch seam allowance, because I feel like that is a building block to great quilters. And I have some, I've taught a lot of those girls, and they're great quilters. Because like this girl had never used a sewing machine. The girl that made the buffalo, can you see the buffalo right down there? She had never used a sewing machine. She was literally trying to push fabric in sideways. Bless her. Bless her. They're fantastic quilters now. And so the method works. So I thought, oh, we could do a crash course while we're there. And so she was very, very enthusiastic and had a great attitude about it. And we got that in. We still stitched a bit, but I was so happy to get to do that. We went quilt fabric shopping. The fabric there was ideal, like really. Like sometimes you can find a base for a quilt and then you need to go find solids at a different store or something. No, they had everything. So that worked out. But that was a joy to me. Like honestly, the best part of that was to get to show her that, and I'll post a picture of the quilt that she made. It's just simple squares, obviously. I don't start it like we gotta walk. We gotta crawl before we walk, before we run, right? So, and I think she's getting ready to do her next one. So I feel like it was a success. So mostly Shipshewana for me was a delight because that happened, and I'm happy for her. So anyway, okay, so my last new start, oh, no, it's not. For my birthday, I decided to stitch a Hands Across the Sea sampler. I feel like it's like a momentous occasion to start your first one. And so this is the one I picked. It's Margaret Ferguson, The Manse of Harlow. I looked up the history of this. It's pretty interesting. And, you know, I'm Scottish, so wanted to do that. My husband thankfully made a copy of each of those pages because I was flipping through and I was worried about my book, but I pretty much only stitched on this for a couple of days. Where's my book of days? I'd like to know. I feel like it was like 2 days, possibly. It's got a lot of color changes, and you know, that's frustrating. Oh, 4 days. So for 4 days I stitched on her, and this is what I got. I did, hold on, let me open it up. I did get the down, I wanted to make sure I had enough room, you know what I mean? And so, and then I got those flowers, a couple of those flowers done, and I think it is beautiful. A lot of color changes to make those beautiful flowers. This is on an LFA, I'm pretty sure. I don't have it written down, and I searched through my bag, and I wonder if maybe it got left down by my stitching spot downstairs in the living room somewhere. I don't know. But I'm pretty sure this is an LFA Ada 16 count, because sometimes I think I remember things. Couldn't tell you what it's called. But it doesn't really matter, because remember, when I got my 3 LFA fabrics, the way I took them out of the bags, I may or may not have mixed them all up. So whatever, if that was Old Church, it could have also been Low Tide. If it was Low Tide, it could have also been, so it's LFA. This might be my last one. Praise be, it is. Part of my Christmas in July challenge was to stitch something from the Jingle Ball. I bought this from Teresa Kogan at the Jingle Ball, Santa's Young Buck. Started this in July sometime. I stitched on him for just a couple of days. And I think I was in a Zoom and I got the most of that tree done. This is all it is. This is on 16 count Honey by Bee Stitch Me. It's a pretty fabric, isn't it? And I like it a lot. But I think he'll wait till January or December. Maybe the weekend after Thanksgiving when I pull out my Christmas stuff, you know? You know, I'm a waiter. Do you wait? I wait to do Christmas. So those are my new whips. Oh, I did pull this out last night. This is my, on my whip. Ooh, did I flash a chart? September Prairie Schooler. This is on my whip go for August, and I got a little bit done last night. So I just started that house. So everything else was done. I'm assuming I started stitching this during school. Schoolers during school. I was doing that a couple years ago. But now school is really hands off for me, to be honest. I'm in the room, but and this coming year is going to be very different. If you've been here a while, you might know that my son is homeschooled. He is going to be going into his junior year, and he plays hockey with the school. So he's like a virtual student. Last year he had to take four virtual classes, electives, to be able to play for the hockey team. So, so this year he's going to the Ed Tech program. It's like a vocational high school program. He's going to take the HVAC. It's called something else. But he's going to take the HVAC class. And so that's half his day. That's in the morning, 3 classes worth. And then he'll still have to do 2 virtual electives to play hockey. And then I'll get math into him somehow. Hopefully something else of importance. I still need to figure out what that looks like. Because technically the VOTEC counts for science and a couple other things. So, also we're homeschoolers. We don't really have to fit each box the way the public school does. So this year's school is going to be very different because I'll have the mornings to myself. He has to be at the high school to get on the bus to go to the Ed Tech program at like 7 o'clock in the morning. And we've been a night household. Did you know we're night owls here? We are night owls here. My husband's been on 3rd shift for the past several years. My son and I just tend to be night owls naturally. Like some people just are morning people. Some people are night owls. We are night owlers. So the 7 o'clock be at the school is going to be different for us. So I like being up in the morning, but if I could sleep until 8:30, that'd be nice. But anyway, so now let's talk about haul. I don't have everything. And also I don't have everything from the retreat. I put a lot of stuff away, and I don't feel like you need to see everything, right? I want to show you my Como Stitches bags that I picked up at the retreat. I have a couple of table mate things, but not a lot. I put a lot of it away. There was so much. It was so good. Such a good retreat. And a couple other random things. 1 minute. Okay. Before I went, I mentioned that I ran up to Stitches in time for some floss. I was very well behaved there. I ended up getting just a skein of something that I thought was, I don't have this. It's tartan plaid. And then I bought the Moments of Glad Grace. They had a lot of blackbirds, and I actually think I bought others of these, but I couldn't tell you which because there's just like piles of stuff around here. That's what happens when you've been out of whack. When we went to Brick City, I ordered this before I went to the retreat. I ordered this from Fat Quarter Shop. They had released their own little stitchy box. It's super cute. It's got cute little snip fabric in there. You pull this down. It's got places for your needles and your doodads. Love it. It was very well priced. It's a little bit smaller. Okay, so it's a tad smaller than like these are the Amazon ones, and then this is the one. But the price was pretty good, I think. So when I went to Brick City, I was very well behaved. I got the floss and the fabric for the Choose Joy pattern by Susan Sweetwing. But then I bought this. This is a Spring Quaker by Leila's Studio, and it is so beautiful. So beautiful. I don't have a lot of spring things, and I'd love to have this. So I got the floss, most of the floss. I didn't have quite all of it. And then I got a 28 count Lugana, and it's called Almond? And I don't remember that being the case. But I got some fabric, and I got the floss for it. And so that's on my to-do list someday. Someday. And I like to kit up a place when I'm visiting a shop. Especially if you go in willy-nilly. Lord knows what you'll get. I won this at the retreat, which I thought was really fun. On a forest group, I rose one. And I was talking about selling it with my friend Andrea. She has this pattern as well. I think she has a kit. And I said, yeah, we could just do 2 trees for the rest of our lives. 2 trees a month for the rest of our lives. But it is pretty. So I got that. I won. Everybody won. Alicia's retreat was really, really wonderful. Can I tell you a couple of my favorite things about it? First, the hotel was cool. Listen, like my room was like morgue setting of chilly, like 66. I think I had it set at 68, but it was 66 in there. So there's that. The goodie box we got was really fantastic. I had a pattern from, I wonder if that's here. Pattern from Annie, a pattern from Chrissy, Finally a Farm Girl. Little doodads from things. Super well thought out. You know what was really fun? You had a card in each of your boxes with somebody's name on it. It was a little interview card, like a postcard. And your goal was, and it was for a prize, to go and locate that person at the retreat. A stranger. I think I heard of only one situation where somebody was the friend that they came with, because they just handed them out at the door when you came in. So I had to go find this lady named Elizabeth. And I'll tell you, I must have gone to every single table. And then it turns out she goes by Beth. So, so I got to meet a lot of people, a lot of chit-chatting. And I'll tell you, I'm usually a sit and stay putter. And so getting up from the table and just people looking for other people. Then we'd chat with them and get to know them. And the woman that had my friend Tam, Virgin Margarita, her name is Margarita, and she was a virgin to retreats. And we met her husband. She was a hoot and a half, and I just loved. So it was such a good idea. I don't know where they came up with that, but that was fantastic. Loved that. Loved it. And I don't know. The friendships made there and the enjoyment of stitching, I thought were fantastic. Truly. The trunk shows were okay. Delicious. Wonderful. Alicia made, she was in my cul-de-sac, so she sat at the table. In theory, she didn't sit a whole lot, but, she had, the ladies from our table, she had, tumblers made with our names on them, and this little flamingo. I thought that was sweet of her, because like as if she didn't have enough, she also made a thing for her friends, so that was sweet. And Tiger Lily was there, and I bought one of these bags. Super cool. She had that made, and the bag is really fun. And I got one of her daughter's lotion bars. They're so good. I got the vanilla pomegranate. It's like a solid lotion bar. You rub it in the heat from your hand, warms it up, and it just is like, it's not greasy. It's just, I wonder what it's in it. I know she's like a chemistry or like a science person. I got this one from Just Como Stitches. And then I thought it was meant for me. Got the gardening stuff on there. And then my friend Andrea got the same one. She won it somehow. And I said, we could sell. So I thought it was fun. It's always fun to twin your friends. Unless you're not into that, and then that's your thing. I did not go into the shopping annex when it first opened. I'm not elbowing nobody to get nothing. I don't need, like, to be honest, do I need anything in that room? No. Am I going to fight a crowd? No. I live in the country. I try to that, like, listen. People in small, so anyway, so I knew I was going to miss out on something potentially, but when I went in there, I went to Just Como Stitches table, and I still found 4 bags to buy, and I found this one, and I knew I saw people coming out with this. I saw people coming out with the patchwork bags, and I thought, there won't be one, but alas, one was in there. I don't know if it fell off the back of a truck. I don't know how I got it, but I got it. Legitimately. Went in there. I was like, oh, this is here. So I got that. So I got 4. Oh, there's one other bag I got from Como Stitches, and it's a gift for somebody. So it's over there. I also picked up a couple of patterns from Susan. Love those. And, oh, this was in the bag. This was in the box. This is super fun from Annie the Pepper Stitcher. And, oh, I bought these from one of the shops that was, oh, I just found something else I bought. I got these at the annex. The Inspired Needle was there. They had a bunch of stuff, and I bought these 2 Plum Streets. And, oh, I bought this at Stitch in Time as well with that Blackbird. It's big probably, huh? I'll put that on my list someday. Also, the Black Cauldron Dye Works was there, and I got Carpe Mortem. Does that mean something dead? Something died? I don't speak Latin. Or read it. I got a 28 count Lugana, and it's a pretty fabric. Doesn't, maybe it's like dead skin looking, I don't know. Forget I said anything. It's a pretty fabric. Something beautiful is going to go on it. And Tiger Lily had this. Tiger Lily had this pattern she was selling. And the floss. I got the floss to go with it. Silk. I'd sell that. Anybody doing a sell? And, oh, if you bought one of the tins of lotion, you got this cute little pattern. You can finish this up and it'll fit just right on that lotion tin. And so, anyway, that was sweet. I thought that was a great marketing by Carrie, Tiger Lily. She was sweet. And then these were this pattern was in the box along with the lemons. Isn't that cute? And then Chrissy handed out another pattern the next day. It was like a beachy thing. So, and then, one thing I wanted to say. I got this from Jen Naska. She was in my cul-de-sac of tables. And she included the floss. And I think I put them away in my floss bag. But it even had, like, she printed out the conversion between Fancy Floss and DMC. And she printed it out on a card and put the card on the floss ring and included that with it. And I thought that time it took to do that. I also think that I'm going to go back and I'm going to get the main one. I think I was gifted the main one. Missy, did you gift me that? I feel like I was gifted the main one. I think I'll stitch the Maine, the Florida, the Indiana. And then I think I'll sew them together like vertical, like in a film strip type of thing, and make a little project keeper out of it. So it'll be like my retreats of 2024. Did I go anywhere else? I retreated to Michigan. I could do Michigan. But wouldn't that be fun? Like a little snapshot of all the places you went to retreat during a year. Wouldn't that be fun? I could go back and do 2023 too. Would that be fun? What do you think? Anyway, so there's that. I also got a shirt from Chantel. Chantel was there. She has just the kindest person. Just the kindest. When we went to Indiana, Shipshewana, Indiana, in June, we took a field trip to Chantel's shop and we did like a little finishing day with her. And I'll tell you, it was... I shopped a lot there. I went to be able to see the models and say, okay, this is the medium, or this is the big one or the little one. I ordered a lot of finishing supplies there because I could see them in person. I like that a lot. And also she taught us how to make this little like patriotic banner. And you know what I gained the most from towards the end when it was like everybody was done with their stuff. Chantel sat down and painted one. And whenever I do one of Chantel's pieces, I think, what's wrong with me? And I was watching her paint and I thought, dang, she is just got the steadiest hand when she's painting, because she's probably done it for millions of hours of her life. And so it made me feel better about the frustration I usually have when I'm painting those, because literally the woman has just the steadiest hand, and she could cut in a line like it was red and white striped, and she could just, and mine looked like I was doing it with my left hand. You know, like I was writing with my left hand. I just need to practice, and I need to give myself some grace. And also she was great about like, oh, if your line's squiggly, just sand it down and it looks, you know, like more prim or vintage or whatever. So that was great. Oh, also, I'll tell you this. I don't have my table mate gifts. I feel like I shouldn't show any if I did. But can I show you that Missy did a Christmas in July theme to our table mate. She gave us a Christmas movie, A House Without a Christmas Tree, and then a Christmas pattern, which I thought was really sweet. And look at this little tin. There was other stuff in there. A recipe card, which mine was broken, Missy. Mine should have had the whoopie pie recipe written on the recipe card, right? There was nothing on my recipe card, and I think you meant to put the whoopie pie recipe on there. So weird. And she gifted us these little scissors. Aren't they adorable? Oh, hold on. Cutest little scissors ever. So she gifted us that. And, ooh, my thing's about to fall. Hold on. Also, Tammy made us the 2 tables of of friends. She made stitchy boxes, Christmas themed. So great. So amazing. I sat at a table with Holly from Hobbies of Holly, Tammy, who knows everybody, Missy from Two Needle Spilling Thread, Jen, the fifth daughter, and then Susan, Sweet Wing Studios. And it was just a wonderful, wonderful time. The table behind me had Annie and Alicia, who hardly sat, Jen Naska, Chrissy from Finally Farm Girl. She was at her shop a lot, so she didn't sit. And then Andrea and Beth. So we were just chit-chatting the whole time. Table mates gifts were amazing. The boardroom hootin' and hollering was amazing. Just so great. So amazing. And so many trinkets. I like literally am looking around, I'm thinking I should show this and this and this, but it'll never end. It will never end because everyone was so generous and so thoughtful, and just filled my cup. It was exhausting. I think one night I rolled into bed at 10 to 4. Like we stayed up late. We can really hang. We ain't no quitter. But I'll tell you that I left feeling rested. And that says something about the company that was there that I got to keep, because even though we were up way past our bedtime, woke up at a decent hour to get down to the stitching room, I left feeling rested. And that is the importance of finding your people and finding the people that don't drain. Like, none of those people just fill my cup, I guess. So, great retreat. Even though it was blazing hot. And I'll tell you, when I got home, it wasn't much cooler in Michigan. Michigan can hang with that humidity. We're supposedly on Sunday, the heat's going to crack. And then I can go back to weeding. So that's all. That's it. Is there anything else? Probably. Probably. I'm going to clean up this mess. I'm going to get myself organized. I'm looking for a rainy day to have a big finishing day. So maybe next time, if that's happened, I can have a big finishing show to show you. That'd be great. August is not looking so busy. I mean, I'm assuming tomatoes will start trickling in. Did I tell you how many beans I've gotten? Listen, I haven't had any Japanese beetles on my beans. I canned 16 quarts of green beans before I left. And I have 3 large cookie trays I need to go put into bags and froze them, because I like to have both. And then I can just sprinkle, put like a cup of beans into 1 pot of soup or something like that. So, I got a good green bean harvest. I'm assuming tomatoes will start trickling. It looks like my potatoes are done and they need to get pulled soon. So, August should be more relaxed. September, I'm worried it'll be hairy, but it'll be okay. We're also picking up our meat birds in a couple weeks. So we're doing them kind of late this year. Probably should have ordered them. But that'll leave our harvest in October, and I like that. I like a harvest that's in a cool month, because doing that when it's raging hot is rough. So somebody's here, or the mail lady's here to murder us. So I will check in with you hopefully sooner than later. And happy stitching, friends. Bye-bye. Hold the phone. I take it back. I got one more thing I got to show you. Okay. I got to tell you something. Also, I ordered a retreat tote from a bag maker on Instagram. Her name is Apin. And she is, I think, exclusively on Instagram. I think she has an Etsy, but it's not current. And she makes the most beautiful bags. I've showed before my Poppins bag that I had Ursula Bertram make from Etsy. I still highly recommend her. She's fantastic. But let me tell you about this retreat tote. Okay. Just a second. Okay. So my Poppins bag, massive, will not fit on under the seat in front of you on an airplane. However, the retreat toe. Can you see them together? They're perfection. And Apen makes this bag so sturdy. It is perfect. I felt like a major heel because I sent her a directional print that is kind of a pain in the butt. She took extra care to make sure that it like is visually appealing to the eye. So good. Her communication is fantastic. This goes on your, it's got feet on the bottom. This goes on your, the handle of your suitcase. It's got pockets. It's got pockets everywhere. The hardware is fantastic. Beautiful. Beautiful bag. I had sent her fabric. It's Bonnie and Camille. It's actually, this is from their Christmas line. And then I don't remember what the floral is. Super amazing mesh bag. She included this little doohickey. So cute. Love it. Highly recommend. The two together. Look at me. Look at me go. So just wanted to tell you about that. So good. You can find her on Instagram. I'll put her name right here so you can look at it. And do you know for a fact right now she has, her wait list is full for like the rest of the year. She will keep an order amount that she can manage really well. And so I heard that she's not taking new orders until the beginning of the year. But probably you should get one. I waited for a while because but then as soon as my friends kept getting one, I thought, I gotta order one. So probably you should get on the list for next year. Her communication is fantastic. It's beautifully made. Highly recommend. So that's all. That's it. And I'll talk to you hopefully sooner than later. I don't think it'll be another 2 months. And happy stitching, friends. Bye-bye.